Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my versus video between the Nike Sabrina 1 and the Adidas AE 1. So of course both of these shoes are first signature shoes for their respective athletes. They're also very good performers and also from rival companies, I guess. Nike versus Adidas, and also the price is pretty dang similar. So the AE 1 retails for 120 bucks and the Sabrina 1 retails for 130 bucks. So if you guys do want to cop either of these shoes, I'll try to leave the link in the description box. Also, another dope thing about the Sabrina 1 is that it's available on Nike by You. I just keep wanting to call it Nike ID. I'm so sad that they changed the name. They changed it to Nike by You, which is kind of weird. I like Nike ID better. But anyways, again, links will be in the description box, but let's get started right off with the Tracciones. So if you're playing on a clean court, AE1 all the way. I don't know what it is with the AE1, the rubber compound, whatever they did here in this shoe, it bites so dang hard. Like, it's one of the hardest stops I've played in. Like, I guess besides the Currys, right, the Flow has the best stop on a rubber outsole, right? Another shoe that's really good is like the Jaw 1, Zoom Freak 5, and also the AR 1, but I would even say the AE1 bites a little bit harder, right? Just crazy how good the bite is here in the AE1. Sabrina 1 also is very nice. I did have to break in the shoe a little bit, right? And once I broke it in, it didn't even take that long, just a couple days. It was a really nice bite, you know, pretty much top tier traction for the Sabrina 1s. However, since I am comparing the two, the AE1 does have a better stop on a clean court. Also, it does stop a lot better on a dusty court as well, right? So if you're playing on a dusty court, the Sabrina 1 is susceptible to picking up a little bit of dust, you know what I mean? So it does pick up dust, and then once dust kind of like builds up here on the outsole of the Sabrina 1, you start sliding around a little bit. It's kind of annoying, you know what I mean? So it is a pretty easy wipe, you know, wasn't a huge deal, but it's kind of not the best for performance on dust. You know, that's something that I didn't like about the Sabrina 1s. However, the AE 1s, it bites through dust really well, right? So when I was playing on a really dusty court and I was testing other shoes out with the AE1, the AE1 had the most consistent performance on the dusty court, right? So it would bite through dust a little bit better than all the other shoes that I was testing. And also, if it did pick up a little bit of dust, it didn't pick it up that quickly. And also, it was a very easy wipe, right? So AE1 also for dust performance is better than the Sabrina 1s. As far as the durability goes, I feel like the Sabrina 1s will be a little bit better. You know what I mean? The rubber is harder here in the Sabrinas. Also, you do have a little bit more grooves. The AE1, you know, we have kind of like this crevice, you know, this V-shaped crevice here in the outsole, and that's not in contact with the ground. So we have less surface area in contact with the ground, and also the rubber is a little bit softer here in the AE1, so durability will be better for the Sabrina 1s. However, if you're playing on the indoor court and you want the overall better bite and performance, the AE1 is way better. The Sabrina 1's still nice. Sabrina 1's definitely still nice, but the AE1 is just better, right? So there's a traction there. Moving on to the heel to toe transition, they're both very smooth. However, the Sabrina 1 is a lot smoother because look. So if you want torsional support, the Sabrina 1 isn't the best. I mean, I don't really have any issues, but if you do need it, obviously probably go with the AE1s, right? Because the AE1 it doesn't really bend in the midfoot really at all. Just here in the forefoot, but anyways, the Sabrina 1 is definitely smoother here in the heel, right? We have the fully exposed React foam, which does feel very nice and smooth here in the heel, and then in the forefoot we have a nice curve shape and a lot of forefoot and midfoot flex, so that feels really smooth here in the Sabrinas. The AE1 is a little bit clunkier here in the heel, which isn't a huge deal because we do have a nice curve shape, so it's not super clunky, but it does feel clunkier than the Sabrina 1s. And then we have a nice curve shape, you know, coming here into the forefoot and a good amount of forefoot flex, but also a nice spring back because of this full length kind of plate and this TPU plate that we got going on here in the AE1. So yeah, in my personal opinion, I like the AE1 a little bit better because, you know, first of all, it's better for torsion support. Second, it's just as kind of like flexible here in the forefoot, but it has a nice little springiness to it as well. The Sabrina 1, not as much, you know what I mean? So there's the heel to toe transition. They're moving on to the cushioning setup. So as far as the cushioning setup goes, they're both really nice, you know what I mean? So here in the Sabrinas, we got a full length React foam, right, with a forefoot zoom unit, which does feel nice and bouncy here in the forefoot, right? But it is a little bit different in how it feels with the AE1. The AE1, obviously, you don't have any type of compression from the actual midsole. This is all plastic, this is all rubber and cage, so there's not a whole lot of compression. Obviously, obviously the Sabrina 1 is a lot softer here in the heel because of the React. So that does feel a lot nicer. However, the step-in comfort is a little bit better in the AE 1, right? So the Sabrina 1, we have, I mean, the insole is all right. You know, we have a regular Ortholite insole, but underneath that, we have a pretty stiff strobel board, right? But once you break it in, it does get a little bit softer and you can feel the React underneath your foot a little bit better. But obviously here in the AE1, it's a little bit better for step-in comfort because, you know, we have a lot thinner insole, right? So the insole is like paper stock. The Ortholite insole is a little bit puffier, you know what I mean? So, but anyways, underneath the AE1, we have that, you know, softer strobel board, you know what I mean? So in the heel, we actually have a cutout, a pretty large circle cutout. And then around that, you can also feel the jet boost underneath your foot. So underfoot cushioning, step-in comfort is a little bit better, but also obviously you have the zoom unit in the forefoot in the Sabrina 1, which does feel nice. It's like a nice snappy bounce, you know, a nice subtle bounce, which feels nice in the Sabrina 1s. Obviously, you don't have that here in the AE1s. As far as the court feel goes, they're both really good for court feel. However, the Sabrina 1 feels a little bit higher up off the ground, especially here in the forefoot, right? So they're both good, but the Sabrina 1s are a little bit higher up off the ground. Impact protection, I would say, is a little bit better in the Sabrina 1s because you have the fully exposed React, you know, that's compressing, and also you're a little bit higher up off the ground, which means the foam is a little bit thicker. So impact protection is a little bit better. It's a little bit bouncier in the Sabrina 1s, but step-in comfort is also better in the AE1s. So it just depends on what you like, you know what I mean? And honestly, in my personal opinion, it's kind of hard to pick. They both feel really nice on foot for me, so it's kind of hard to pick. But you know, just decide on what you like better, and obviously make the choice with which shoe you want, right? So there's that. Moving on to the upper. So the upper, as far as the quality goes, I feel like I like the Sabrina 1s a little bit better with this like kind of textile and all this embroidered material on it, right? So it feels a lot softer and also a little bit, you know, thinner as well, especially here in the forefoot. And here in the midfoot, we have like the screen mesh and also the fly wire that you can see through the screen mesh. For the AE1s, we have like this, obviously the TPU wing on the lateral and medial side. And also here on top of the toe box, we have this kind of like synthetic material, which by the way, does get super dirty. I don't know if it's coming up on camera, but it's really black. You know what I mean? There's a lot of scuff marks. Also a lot of scuff marks on the actual plastic, like silicone wings as well. I don't know if that's coming out on camera. Hopefully it is. But anyways, obviously this material is thicker, you know, but also feels a lot more supportive, right? So it depends on what you want in like how the shoe feels, obviously. So if you want an upper that feels more supportive, but also this shoe, like this upper is still soft. It like conforms your foot still really well. It's not, doesn't pinch your foot at all. So with this softer silicone type of plastic, it feels still very nice on foot, right? And honestly, in my personal opinion, I like the AE1 material better. You know, the Sabrina 1, if you want something a little bit more minimal, also something softer, and also I guess a little bit better for quality, then the Sabrina 1 is better. But the AE1 still relatively like thin, but also more supportive, you know what I mean? So yeah, there's that. Also for the tongue, the Sabrina 1 has a little bit more padding. It's also a half booty construction tongue, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit. The AE1 tongue is attached to two elastic bands that go on both the lateral and medial sides of the shoe, and it kind of like keeps the tongue in place and also kind of like stretches the tongue over your foot, giving you a better fit as well. And then here in the ankle area, they're both pretty dang minimal. I would say actually the AE1 feels a little bit poofier for the foam here in the ankle area, right? So in my personal opinion, I like the AE1 a little bit better, but the Sabrina 1 is still nice. So there's that. Moving on to the fit. So I went true to size for the AE1s and I went up half a size for the Sabrina 1s. And for me, I would say the AE1 fits me a little bit better, right? So since I went true to size, my toes go very close to the edge of the shoe. Also a pretty nice snug fit here in the toe box, and width-wise, it's like a perfect fit for me. It's like slightly narrow / normal, right? But the Sabrina 1, since I did go up half a size, it is a little bit long, which I don't like, but I definitely don't think I could have gone true to size because it's really snug here in the toe box. It's a really snug fit here in the toe box, and also width-wise, it is narrow. It's definitely narrower than the AE1. So yeah, for me, the AE1 fit me a little bit better. For the Sabrina 1s, I would say if you have a skinny foot and you want a really snug fit, the Sabrina 1 will be a better overall fit. But if you have like a more normal foot / maybe even narrow, the AE1 is definitely going to be a better fit like it was for me. So there is the fit there. Moving on to the support and lockdown, I mean, obviously the AE1 is going to be better. So for lateral containment, you're going to be good to go. Your foot is not coming out of the footbed really at all. You have this crazy TPU wing. It's keeping you inside of the footbed, you know, here in the forefoot, here in the midfoot, here in the heel. Also, we have this plastic heel counter, right? But the Sabrina ones, we do have some lateral cages, right? So we have this plastic thing coming up here in the forefoot, also in the internal TPU heel counter. But the material, since it's like this softer type of textile, it kind of rolls over on itself just a tiny bit. So I didn't experience anything bad. My foot didn't feel like super unsupported or anything, but obviously the AE one is just gonna be better for support, right? Also, it's gonna be a little bit better for ankle support. I mean, this is just, it's a thin material. It doesn't really restrict ankle movement that much, but if you want a little something on your ankle bone, there's that. Also, lateral stability, I feel like they're probably around the same width, right? They're both pretty wide base layers, so very, very similar in width. Lateral stability was good for me in both of the shoes, and I didn't really experience any type of heel slippage or anything like that. Like once I tightened the laces in both of the shoes, my foot felt secure, my foot felt locked down and locked into the shoe, and I could just focus on playing. You know what I mean? It's just the AE one felt a little bit more supportive, especially in like the kind of like the rolling of the upper, right? So there's that. Moving on to the weight, however, right? So that's where the AE one kind of isn't the best. The Sabrina ones are super duper light. It comes in at like 11.8 ounces, right? So comparing that to the AE ones are 15.6 ounces, right? So that's a big difference in weight. So obviously, if you want the more minimal feeling shoe and also the lighter shoe, then the Sabrina one is the better option. However, the AE one, I didn't really have any issues with it because it didn't feel super heavy, it didn't feel super bulky really at all either. And also, honestly, it feels more responsive. You know what I mean? The traction is better than the Sabrina ones. The cushion is just as responsive but still comfortable. And also, my foot wasn't really moving around inside of the shoe. You know, the Sabrina one, like I said, it was moving around just a little bit more than the AE one, so I just felt a little bit quicker. And also, like I said, we have that springiness in the shoe as well for the AE one, so I felt a little bit quicker when I was playing in the AE one versus the Sabrina one. However, if you want the lighter shoe, then obviously go with the Sabrina one, right? It's still a responsive shoe for the Sabrina ones, just the AE one felt a little bit more responsive to me. And now moving on to the ventilation, yes, the Sabrina one will be a lot better. You know, we have this mesh, especially with the screen mesh here for the tongue. The textile has pretty good airflow as well. So yeah, this shoe is gonna be way better for ventilation. The AE one, not the best, you know what I mean? So there's that. Aesthetically, oof, I don't know, guys. What do you guys think looks better? Sabrina one looks great. AE one looks great. For me, honestly, I think this AE one looks a little bit better, in my personal opinion. So, but I feel like, you know, it's gonna be pretty split as far as who thinks what looks better. But tell us down in the comment section below what you guys think looks better. But wrapping things up, so as far as the overall performance goes, in my personal opinion, I like playing in the AE one a little bit better, which is kind of weird because the AE one is heavy, you know what I mean? But like I said, I didn't really notice the weight all too much. It just also feels like it'll be a lot more durable as well, right? With this upper, the Sabrina one, like I've been playing in it, this upper, this textile it's not really holding up nearly as well as I thought it would, and also obviously not as well as the AE ones. Yeah, the traction's better, lockdown feels a little bit better, support feels better, fits my foot a little bit better as well. Cushion, they're both nice, it's just, like I said, they're nice in different ways, but I still like the AE one as well. So yeah, in my personal opinion, the AE one is better, and also it's cheaper. It's $10 cheaper than the Sabrina one, which is great, right? I guess, like I said, the only reason why I would say to pick the Sabrina one over the AE one is if you want the lighter and also more minimal feeling shoe, right? But other than that, you know, I feel like most people, you should still be fine picking the AE one, you know what I mean? And even if you're a guard, you should be fine. Also for bigger dudes, right? If you're a bigger guy, the AE one is going to be a good option as well. The Sabrina one is more just for guards, you know? So anyways, that about concludes this versus video between the AE one and the Sabrina one. Again, if you guys do want to cop either of these shoes, I tried to leave the link in the description box. Like, don't get me wrong, the Sabrina one's still really, really nice. It's still a great performer. Just I think the AE one's better, right? But again, that about concludes this versus video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.